Thanks, Ayan. Colonel retired Zohar Rozenberg, Vice President of Cyber Investment at Elron, Israel. Zohar served in Unit 2200 for over 20 years, leading high-risk, high-innovation organizations and projects. Zohar was involved in the establishment of the National Cyber Bureau and the formalization of the Israeli National Cyber Strategy. He's retired after serving as the head of IDF's cyber department. Zohar.
So I'm Zohar. Good morning. Something completely different for those of you who do not recognize. I want to share my thoughts on why we should start doing security solutions really differently. I believe that the security products that we have today are just not what we need for the coming future. I think that we're seeing signs of it already. And I think that the reason that they don't fit what we are going to need in the future is buried deep in the past. And we should probably start shifting the ship fast or we'll hit this end of road sign. If you've been in the plenary and on Monday, you've heard all these very important people worried, admitting that what we have isn't enough and things are still happening. And we've also heard this morning about attacks that just keep coming. And all the statistics are talking about the growing numbers of cyber attacks and the growing effects that they have. And we can ask, why is that? Because over the past decade, and again, some of the previous speakers here mentioned it, we've invested tons of money in security research and development. The endless maps of companies that are today offering their solutions. And we have these conferences and bounty programs and B-sides and whatever. And all this effort, which is really an ongoing effort for quite some years now. And it doesn't really feel that we're getting close enough to where we want to be. And I'm saying, is it possible that we missed something? We're going in the same direction, doing more and more, but maybe something basically is at fault here. And I will offer my thoughts on where we might have missed something. And I think that to understand that, we have to look a little back. So if we're looking back 20 years ago, even though the internet was there already, but most of us were just islands in the sea. We all had our small networks that were not connected to anything. When I finished my first degree here at Tel Aviv University in '95, the Faculty of Engineering was still very much an isolated island when it comes to internet. In my last year, we just started having these Netscape browsers that didn't reach anywhere. Then we started building these sort of ferries. We used to call them tender processing here in Israel. We used to move different type of cassettes. Then came thumb drives. We began doing these little throws of information between islands. And then security people said, no, we have to do something with those throws to make them secure. So they got these funny shapes and basically didn't allow us to transform anything. Then we started building bridges. Some are more robust, some less. And then we reached to the age of highways. But something was always there in the behind of what we're doing when it comes to security. There is us and them. Us is the organization or the university or the bank or whatever. There is us here that we are defending, and all the rest are them. And I'm asking today, is this really something that is still true. Is there really still an us that I'm trying to defend from all of them, or are we more of a big mesh that really doesn't separate anymore between us and them, because us is insignificant without the them? And taking a look at a few examples, the digital business buzz of this era is pushing everything very fast. And if we look just at mobile banking, for example, mobile banking in essence is a lot of data being transferred between the bank and the mobile, back and forth. But it's not really just the bank and the mobile device, because there are a lot of other vendors, systems, organization involved. There is authentication that is usually done by some other third party. There are credit cards also in this loop, but that's another organization with another network and data center and everything. Then there are anti-fraud vendors, and there are insurance companies involved. So really just mobile banking, which is most people believe is bank and mobile, involves a lot of other systems, organizations, and there are no bad guys or enemies on this slide. There is no really us and them. It's in everyone's interest that this thing works, because this is what drives the business. This is what helps everyone make money. This is what grows the industry. So is it still logical that on each one of these pictures, there is still a very basic view of us and them? We are defending from everyone else. Oops, sorry. If I look at just really a completely other space, urban cities, New York, Manhattan, sort of an island. Is it logical there that Manhattan would look at the other areas around it as something that it needs to protect from, that it needs to secure the bridges from, or are they really part of one vibrant city? Manhattan would be nothing without the bridges that just allow free transport back and forth. If you want to go to another example in the digital era, the healthcare is undergoing a tremendous revolution. 5, 10 years from now, everything we know about how we do healthcare will be different. Hospitals that are being planned today are being planned to be much smaller than today's hospitals, because they are being planned for remote healthcare. They don't want people to come to the hospital. They don't want so many beds. They don't want people to get infections while they wait in the ER. So they're planning for the doctor to be able to give treatment for the patient at home. This is, again, completely new digital business that will involve tons and tons of systems and technologies and organizations, but it will all have to work together for me as a patient to get treatment at home by a doctor. And if this will be built with, again, the same paradigm that each and every part here is defending himself and treating basically all the others as potential risk factors, will this really work? Or will this just be another huge attack surface because each chain is trying to defend itself without looking at all the others? And there are, again, other numerous examples, content consumption that today is involving not only the content provider, but engines that do recommendations and different metrics and big data analytics, et cetera, et cetera. The automotive industry that is going very far in this direction. We're doing big data. Every big data means really another big ecosystem, because for the data to be really big, it has to come from a lot of different places. So every big data that we're doing is really creating a new ecosystem around it. And if we go and look at the threat of billions of devices connected, what people call as IoT, and will it still be logical to try and get visibility? Because usually in security we say you have to get visibility first because you cannot defend what you don't know that's there on the network. But if you go to billions of devices that are connected, is it really logical to expect visibility? Is it really logical to try and control it all and try to visualize the network? And is it even relevant to keep on today's, again, paradigm that I will separate the network from the devices and I will treat the devices as a riskier area? But the devices are going to become the network itself. If it's billions of devices, what is the network without the devices? So all these views of us and them, I'm here, and everything out there is risking me, and I have to make sure that everything that goes between me and them goes under through a very, very harsh screening so I don't get hurt, I think that's a little obsolete. But the security solutions that we have today are still there because we are looking at third party as risk factors, and we are still trying to defend some local entity, whether it is a network, an endpoint, a specific device, application, by the way, that we just heard speak about that. So application security. It's not good. It will probably never be great. But even if it is great, it's still defending the application. But what about everything around it? And if the application security is unaware of everything around it, it can never be really secure. We have a security world that is really, really fragmented. These maps give the look and feel of this. We have application security, and we have perimeter security, and we have endpoint security, and we have whatever you want. Every week, Gartner will bring up a new category for products and a new definition for something that we're trying to defend. But really, this fragmentation is what the attackers are building upon. Because if each security product tries to do its best on some very local entity, but ignoring that it is a part of a chain or an ecosystem, then there are a lot of holes between the things. And that's what the security, that's what the attackers are of course, doing to exploit us. So I think that the security solutions today are just not planned for the age of large ecosystems. Looking at defending my organization, and even inside the organization, it's already obsolete, but when it comes to inter-organizational ecosystems, and this is how the digital world is going to work, it's not going to wait. The industry is pushing very hard, very fast, and it's going there. We're not going to be able to stop it. So I think that the concepts upon which we are building our security solutions should adopt to this. So where to? I think that we should stop looking at, or at least shift from looking at defending specific entities like application or endpoint or network to defending a business process. And if this business process incorporates 70 organizations, then we need to be able to articulate how do we defend a process that goes through 70 organizations. Because counting on each organization to do its best, and each organization will do a third-party risk analysis on all the other 69, that will not get us anywhere good. So if, again, looking at the patient at home, doctor process, and everything that is in the middle, how do we protect this process? Because this is what needs the defense, or the mobile banking, or of course the industrial processes. I think that we should move from security solutions to security entities. Security products today, as I said it before, they assume that they are the one and only thing that's securing something. They are unaware of other security measures. We have developed to the place that some security products can access APIs of other security products and do something there. But it's not really being aware of them. And we should shift to a place where security entities assume they are a part of a big herd, that they assume that there's something bigger than them, and that even though each and every one of them has their own uniqueness in some sort of a specialization, they understand that it's only a part of the big picture. So we need these entities to be aware. Again, it's awareness, not an API, because API is very limited in the ability to work together and try to defend something. So we need entities that can discover each other, work together, uncover an attack together, mitigate the attack together. We need a language for these entities to be able to do that. We are not in any way doing something like this today in the industry. Again, we're opening APIs, but it's not a language because it is at maximum I can understand this solution's log, or I can parse this, or I can maybe configure something. It's not really a full language that can help entities work together. So I think really we need sort of a paradigm shift with how we build solutions, from looking at defending something local to defending a process, from lone solutions to friendly entities, from defending an organization to understanding that we have processes that incorporate multi-organizations, and we need to defend the processes and not just every organization. We are today, the organizations are really divided by the threat, because I'm so afraid from each and every link that I have to someone else, and I'm looking at everyone else as a risk factor. The threat is really dividing the different parties of a process. And we should find a way to unite these organizations in front of a process. From being threat aware to being process aware. Again, we're looking at the threat, we're not looking at the process that we need to defend. So the process at the end will not work. From sharing intelligence to really mitigating threat together between security entities. I think there's good news. AI has come into the game lately. It's coming more and more out there. But here, what I'm asking is that we don't use the AI to just better what we used to do. Before we had signatures, that was not good enough because things keep changing. So we adopt now an AI pet, and we teach it how to identify a picture or a file, and now it will do better than just signatures, but it's really the same paradigm, it's just doing it better. I'm saying let's use the AI to create this species of cyber entities that can be aware of each other and communicate with each other and create an ad hoc solution to new threats. So to conclude, I think that even though it's easy to say, yeah, the basic architecture is flawed and it's hopeless to defend, I don't think the IT world will just rebuild itself over the next decade. And it's also easy, by the way, to always blame the human factor. And yeah, it's true, it's there. But we're a huge industry. We expect people to buy the products. We expect others to invest in the industry. So we can't just, at the end of the day, complain about the human factor. If it's that inevitable, why should anyone buy our products? And I think there are many good security solutions out there today, but they are good at doing something very local, something very specific. Trying to defend piece by piece without looking at the overall chain, that is what is lacking today. And I think that more and more specific pieces will not better the situation. Only beginning to look at the overall chain will bring something really new. And I think that is where we should go. I think that is where there is room for optimism in trying to make really a big change in the race between attackers and defenders. Thank you.